Hi, this is Robert Suma with Podtoid Episode 3. I'm your host as usual, and with me I have Nero, Faith, Orcus, and Savant. And Nero, and we're going to introduce ourselves this time. Came up with a brilliant idea of what we're drinking, so Nero, you go ahead.
That's right. This evening we're going to introduce ourselves with the beverage at hand. With me tonight is Guayabita del Pinar, founded in 1892. This some strange drink that my cousin Maximo gave me on my last trip to Cuba, which has like the Constitution on the back of it or something, but it's pretty good. So
just in case someone forgets.
Yeah.
So, drinking anything?
If I had Jedi powers, I would be drinking a caffeine-free Pepsi right now, but unfortunately the Jedi powers are not available. So I have water next to me.
I'm actually drinking a Southpaw beer.
Southpaw?
Southpaw, yeah. It's swill. It's cheap.
Savant, what are you drinking?
I have 2 bottles full of tap water from Catasauqua, which is 1 hour north of Philly, which is kind of close to New York City. I have tap water. I'm a freaking camel, man.
But not close enough. And I'm drinking my favorite wine of all time. It's a Chilean wine from South America, of course. It's a Los Vascos red wine. I believe this is a Cabernet, if I'm not mistaken. And it's lovely. It has a lovely bouquet.
I think in Spanish that translates to like feces of the chameleon.
Yeah.
Where's my Guinness?
So the big news this week was Jack Thompson and his jackassery, and our boy Nero was on the scene to capture every. Be nice. The guy's a fucking dick. Are you kidding me? Be nice to him. All right, so Nero, tell us what happened this morning when you arrived. Give us the whole rundown of what happened. You know, save us the boring part.
I mean, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't even know if I was going to get in the door, you know, if they were going to turn me away, if it was going to be held in the judge's chamber, you know, no press, whatever. So I just kind of showed up. I mean, it was too good of an opportunity, you know, in my backyard, and I just went for it.
What was basically going on? What was the case about? Like, why was Jack Thompson in this Florida court? I think a lot of people are kind of confused about the legitimacy of the whole thing to begin with. Can this judge just stop bully from being sold in the state, in that county, in that city? What exactly is going on?
It's really, yeah. There's a couple of things that I actually wasn't aware of prior to going into this. Apparently, the school board had recommended that this game not be sold to minors. They had some concerns.
Which county is this? Which school board?
This is Dade County.
Okay. Miami-Dade,
here in Miami. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Miami, 305. So there was that. When I first got there, and Jack was there, and he was having a conversation with a cameraman from CBS4, one of the local news stations. They were talking about how Best Buy and Walmart use debit cards as a form of age verification, and they do a follow-up phone call. But that doesn't really guarantee, 100% accuracy, and there's some loopholes around that. So that was one other element. And then the element that is most publicized is the fact that Take-Two had distributed the game to, certain video game press, such as, IGN, and, we read the review on Electronic Gaming, but they wouldn't give him a copy. And he was saying, well, are they hiding something? Why doesn't Walmart have a copy? That sort of thing. So he was kind of lobbying for, to get his hands on the game, to really see what the game was all about. And he actually said that if the game was not as bad as he thought that it would be, that he would drop the whole thing. And I know that a couple of people posted on the site like, well, he's lying, he's full of shit. So there was that.
Now, did you get to actually speak with him personally or no?
Oh yeah. I showed up a little early, and the case actually ran late. I got there at about 1:15, and the case, I think, started like at 2:30 or something. So I actually sat with Jack Thompson, with the camera guy, with the lady, with the tech editor from the Miami Herald, which was also there, and some other folks, and we just kind of casually sat around and discussed the game.
Now, has he played the game? How much of the game does he actually know about?
No. He has not played the game.
Does he know that it's not there's no blood and that it's not really about a bully? Does he know this stuff?
Absolutely. And
so,
I mean,
so what is his problem?
Go.
Does he have a specific problem with Take-Two? Like, there's about a million other games out there that are more violent than GTA and Bully put together. And like, does he understand this? Does he just have a specific issue with Take-Two? Did he mention any of that when he was talking?
Well, I mean, one of the things that they were talking about, before I joined the conversation was, Grand Theft Auto and how successful that game was, and the fact that this game will sell despite the publicity that it's getting from this trial. But yeah, these are all questions that I had going in. I mean, I read all the reviews, and I just had a stack of things that I wanted to ask him. How well does he really know this game, and is he aware of the fact that there's no weapons, that you can't kill anybody in the game, and yet he's built this game as a Columbine simulator, and that was one of my first questions to him. To me that means, okay, you're in a trench coat, you can bring the heavy firepower to the school, and you can wipe out a bunch of kids. His or the way that he kind of brought about the argument was the fact that even though you're not the bully and you're responding to bullying, it's violence begetting violence, and teaching kids that when someone beats your ass, you have to beat their ass right back and get a couple of friends and make sure that the bullies don't bully you, and that's the message of the game that he has a problem with.
Did you talk about why does he single out video games as the medium of choice to spend his time? Did you ask him about that, or did he mention anything?
No, I didn't. And that's a really good question. I'm not exactly sure why he's chosen video games.
Also, in your article, you talked about I guess his attorney, the defense attorney, about being kind of a psycho. What was with that guy?
That guy was a character.
And why isn't Jack representing himself? He's a lawyer, right? Or did they take away his license in Florida too?
No. He had an expert witness, which was also another attorney that does scholastic research. A gentleman with a beard. His name escapes me, but I have it in my notes. The guy that said the famous head, the speed bump comment was actually a lawyer on the Take-Two on the defense.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And he was just back and forth. He's just very, very just off. He opened up some statements saying, at the risk of sounding like a lawyer, and then he would say something completely ridiculous. The judge would say, well, I hope you're a lawyer.
So from an outside perspective, let's just say you were just someone that really didn't know anything about video games, and if you could imagine that situation, who do you think actually presented the better case today?
And I know that I'm going to get a lot of shit for this, but Jack Thompson really presented himself well. He was extremely well spoken. He was extremely well prepared. He spoke calmly. He spoke in a language that everybody could understand, and I think he connected with more people than the other guys that just kind of came off, very First Amendment kind of. Even the judge said, I have a problem with this First Amendment platform that you guys are running. I love the First Amendment, but there's a couple of things that you guys are pushing here that's kind of stretching it. So I think overall, after the whole thing was over, I walked up to Mr. Thompson and I said, well, how do you feel? And he said he was very pleased. I think he knew that he had accomplished a couple of things by having the judge say that he wants to see the game himself. I think he's created reasonable doubt. I think that it was definitely his day in court.
So on Thursday, October 12th, so the case is going to room that day, right?
Right.
And the judge is going to actually play the game on that day? Is that what's going to happen? Take-Two is going to take him through it?
Right, exactly. It started out by the judge saying, okay, well, you guys need to bring this game in, and we're going to play it for a couple of hours, and we're going to see it. The defense on Take-Two said, well, you don't understand. This is a very complex game. There's hundreds of hours of gameplay, and we just can't do this in just one afternoon. And the judge said, well, fine. If it takes 100 hours, then that's going to tie up my weekend, but fine. And they're trying to.
What's going to come out of this, basically? Like, what will happen? Let's say if Jack Thompson wins the case, what will happen?
Well, one of two things. If the judge does find that the game is, and the whole platform for the lawsuit was whether or not releasing this game to the public with a teen rating would cause a nuisance.
But this is just in Miami-Dade County, correct? Yeah, this is not a federal court.
No.
So
And
this would just affect people in Miami.
And there was a lot of talk about escalating it throughout the hearings because obviously they have no jurisdiction over the ESRB, and that was kind of kicked around a couple of times. And I found it interesting that the judge completely, didn't take that teen rating from the ESRB to face value. He said, well, if you guys are in here debating it and we all agree that there might be some flaws in the system, I want to test this myself. I want to be the one to decide, yes, this is acceptable or it is not. So he's already made up his mind that, whatever it says on the box, it's irrelevant to him.
Wow.
Yeah, that was
really interesting.
Yeah. So here's what's going to happen. In the case that he does find the game unacceptable to sell to teens, he's going to file a temporary restraining order, which I believe only prohibits the sale to minors within Dade County or Miami, and then it's whatever happens beyond that.
Minors being 17 and under.
Right. Is it 17 or 15? Whatever the teen rating
Oh, okay.
is.
So just strict to the teen rating.
Exactly.
So basically just doing what the game stores are supposed to be doing in the first place.
Right. And
so this case is just a big waste of money.
One of the things that was said by Jack Thompson, which surprised me, was he felt that they were doing themselves a disservice by not having a mature rating, because stores actually have a procedure for mature games, whereas a teen game, you can go out and even he said that even as young as 9-year-olds are buying teen games because nothing pops up on the screen. The software that these retail companies use, nothing pops up on the screen that tells them, hey, this is a teen game, you better card this kid to make sure he's actually a teen. Whereas with mature games, the software and the company procedures are there to make sure that those are actually over the age of 18 or whatever that requirement is. So yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting. The judge said, well, that I'm ordering you to produce this game in my office tomorrow at 3 o'clock. You are going to provide a PlayStation 2. You're going to provide the game. Walmart's off the hook because they haven't seen a copy of the game. They haven't played it. They don't have any documentation on it.
Walmart needs to fucking see the games? What the hell does that mean?
Right. Well, the business guy, the lawyer, speaking
That's going to open
on...
up a whole can of worms that game companies won't want to deal with.
Oh, yeah.
Are you kidding me? Talk about leaks. I mean, we already have leaks now. Can you imagine what would happen if, some guy in his braces got a hold of the game at Walmart, months before it came out, and, it's like, God, what a nightmare that would be.
I think I'll be the first one to get my lashings in. Jack Thompson actually sounding cordial. I'm pretty sure now he's sold his soul or he's hired a cyborg to talk for him now. But honestly,
the thing is that he sounds like, I understand where Nero's coming from because even on G4 he sounded.
Yeah, that's very true.
In my opinion, he kind of beat Adam Sessler just because he didn't come off sounding like.
Yeah,
an idiot.
that's very true.
But it's just like when you look behind all that and the reasoning, and some of the reasonings behind this and why he's done, it's kind of ridiculous. I mean, he's just totally off base, and he's kind of going off after the wrong people.
Yeah, definitely.
From what Nero just described, basically. He doesn't have a problem with Take-Two. He has a problem with the stores selling a T game to people that aren't teens.
Yeah.
I mean, so he's kind of crazy in the fact that he's got his mind set on the wrong place. He's just got all his anger focused.
The message sending off is good.
On the easiest victims. It's easy to target Take-Two rather than, these sort of faceless Walmarts and Best Buy and GameStop and EB. It's a lot easier to go after Take-Two, who had this whole hot coffee mistake and had all this other stuff. It's easy to go after these monsters that rather than
Well, Take-Two and Rockstar, they're synonymous with mature games. I mean, whenever you hear Rockstar, you hear stuff like, Grand Theft Auto.
Mm-hmm.
But, so he decides he would probably go for the big one, the Kingpin, basically. Those are the big mature-rated games right now that are coming out and that are having a mass effect on the society. So he just goes there and he's going to start scapegoating them, I believe. The thing about the teens getting games and not being carded, that's a known issue. And I really think he's spinning his wheels with Take-Two. This is a broader issue than just Bully and Grand Theft Auto and all that. I mean, people need to be more responsible. Fine. He doesn't have to go on his own little warpath and promote himself like he has been.
It's almost like a witch trial back in the day. Like a Puritan witch trial where they had no clue. They thought women were witches because they cheat on their husband or whatever.
Right. And then, now with SNK's game, you clearly know that you have to get the girls naked and touch them.
Yeah, I mean, he's going after Bully. Did you even mention that to him? You're like, hey, forget about Bully. SNK's making a game where you rape small children? I mean, it's like, hello? I mean, did you talk about that to him or no?
Oh, no.
If you talk to him,
no.
You gotta mention that.
Yeah.
He's got a whole new thing going. I mean, he's gonna go to Japan and take over Japan.
Oh, I can only imagine. He's Godzilla!
I mean, that's ridiculous. That game is ridiculous, but...
I'll tell you this. He did have issue with Take-Two sending an employee out to demo this game to the judge, and the judge said, well, even if Take-Two selectively tries to show me the parts that have least violence, I'm gonna ask them to show me the worst, or what Jack called the good stuff, which I thought was funny. He said that a couple of times.
But there is no worst. I've played the game. It's like you're just beating up kids. Picking on other kids. Or, like, there was one part where I was just in a bike race. I mean, it was just, like, stuff...
Oh, those bike races, man, they cause problems.
It's stuff that already happens in schools now. It's, like, it's just beyond ridiculous. And hopefully the judge sees it when he plays the game. It sounds like this judge is somewhat level-headed, so...
I think he'll throw it out in a couple of minutes after seeing the game and a couple little bits of footage, so...
Well, the thing that this is the only thing that I think the judge might not buy it, is that the reason Rockstar said it got a teen, and I guess the reason they were going for it, is because it doesn't have blood. So if the judge looks at it and sees it doesn't have blood, so what, there's still all this violence, then yeah, I can see him siding with Jack on this. But
right, and
if he falls for the no blood thing, then maybe he'll drop it.
The violence, as it was described to the judge, was okay. You can shove kids' heads into toilets. You can beat them with cricket bats. Out of nowhere, like as if we were like on court TV, he pulls out this gigantic wooden slingshot out of his briefcase, points it at everyone in the room, and didn't have the rubber band attached to it or anything. But everyone's like, "What the hell?" He's just like waving this thing. He's like, "I made this last night in 5 minutes."
So that's for crazy.
And I was like, oh my god. And I'm sitting next to Bridget Carey, which is a reporter from the Miami Herald, and we had just been talking about The Simpsons, which she had played on the Genesis. And she's like, well, there's like, you can do some pretty cruel stuff in that game, and and I'm saying, well, Bully's obviously, more realistic game, and as we get into these, immersive, PlayStation 3 games where people can kind of call them simulators. I guess that's the issue here. And then all of a sudden he just whips out this slingshot. We were just like, what in the world is going on here? So that was entertaining, but it wasn't as entertaining as the defense guy saying you can crush people's heads like speed bumps. That was priceless.
Oh, God. Jesus.
Better watch out, man. He's going to use spitballs next and maybe give you a wet willy.
I have a feeling this is never going to end, and Jack is going to keep on fighting the good fight until the day he dies.
That's it. This is his legacy in the making.
No matter whatever. Take-Two's going to come out with, like, the dog discipline simulator, and he's going to be like, they're all about hurting dogs.
I know we need to move on to some other stuff, but I just want to wrap up with this. I saw that on Kotaku they had described the Take-Two employees' gig to demo this game as like the worst game tester gig ever.
Can you imagine what it's going to be like? It's like showing your grandpa how to like...
Oh, but here's the funny thing, guys, and this is something that is not known, and you will only hear this on Podtoid. I had actually exchanged some emails with Jack Thompson, and I said, well, well, I understand, that they may have some trouble getting the guy out of New York to, demo this game because of obviously the tragedy that happened there. And I said, well, listen, if you need a guy to, if they FedEx you the game and you need a guy to come play the game, you have my information. And he said, well, I may just have the court do that. Give me your information.
Yes.
Oh my God.
So I might be that guy. So we'll see how that goes.
Wow.
Can you
Yeah.
imagine?
Hey,
Show
can
them all
I
the bloody part.
want to add one thing to this conversation that everyone seems to have forgotten. I mean, it's one thing to say that, the game makers are responsible for the content they put in the games, or the ESRB ratings are, responsible for the way they rate a game based on content, or even that the stores are responsible, for selling these games to underage kids and stuff. But honestly, anyone forgot about the fact that these kids have parents?
Where are the parents?
Exactly. Where are the parents? I mean, when I was growing up, my mother bought me all of my Nintendo games and Super Nintendo games because I didn't have the money to pay for them. So where are these, 13-year-old, 15-year-old, and younger kids getting their money or, to buy these games without the parents standing by? Like, obviously, there's got to be parents going into these stores, and the problem is that parents just don't care enough nowadays to actually look at what their kids are playing.
Well, that's why these cases are bullshit, Faith. I mean, that's exactly what I'm talking about, like, misguided anger. Like, he's got his, like, Rockstar is not doing anything wrong. They're making a game, and they're putting it out there. The ESRB are the ones that are rating this game, and as you said, the parents are the ones paying for this game, unless their kids are little crack sellers on the show. So it's like, Take-Two is not doing a goddamn thing. Now, yes, Hot Coffee, yeah, that was their fault, and they should possibly be held accountable for that. But the fact that they're just putting out a game, like, why are they getting in trouble for it when it's the ESRB that rates it? It's the stores that sell it, and it's the parents that pay for it.
Because it's easier to point the finger. It's easier to point the finger at them.
But you gotta, I mean, it's like, I want to take Jack Thompson. I want to look. Do you see this progression of what's going on? Like, please explain to me why Take-Two is in any way responsible for any of this when you have all these layers that you have to go through first to even get to Take-Two.
I didn't have this conversation with Jack Thompson, but I did have it with the CBS camera guy.
Well, next time you email him and you talk about playing bully, you need to act.
He said, he said that he's a parent of 3. His kids play Warcraft, and he's concerned about these things, but he just doesn't have the time. He's got 2 jobs
things
or whatever.
going on in World of Warcraft than there will ever go on in bully.
So,
Yeah, the first
we'll
part,
see.
I think, is that I think it kind of points to a trend, like, not just video games, but, I mean, you see the same thing in music and movies, TV. I mean,
Tom and Jerry.
It's not a bully problem. It's an American problem.
Politicians. It's usually politicians during election time, making sure they get their name out there to the soccer moms. Hey, look, I care about family values. Vote for me. I mean, that's usually what it comes down to. So it's kind of weird to see Jack Thompson, this guy who's not in politics. I mean, unless he's just trying to get his name out there, which obviously is working, which I wish it wouldn't. Well, I mean, that's why they do it. They don't care. They don't try to care about the kids. If they cared about the kids, they'd fix the problem with the parents. They'd fix the problem with the stores. They'd actually, like, look into what the problem is.
Yeah, well, tomorrow should be pretty exciting.
Yeah, especially if you get to be the one to demo the game.
Hell yeah.
Let's all cross our fingers that happens.
Yeah, well, I don't have any plans this weekend, so that'd be nice.
So, alright, let's move on to another kind of hot topic that actually happened today. That Faith posted about Tommy Tallarico. It was this old video of him going off on fanboys and Nintendo fanboys specifically.
That was great.
And the post kind of turned into not really about I guess some about fanboy discussion, but a lot of it was actually about Tommy and what a dick he is, or at least he comes off as this big dick. But Faith is very actually kind of close with him and promises us he's not actually a dick.
Oh my God! Did you see the comment Elisa posted about? I'm gonna research that. You guys go ahead, and I'm gonna have to quote.
Well, yeah, I was gonna go through all the some of the good responses, but let's just go through them now, and then Faith can kind of respond to them. I mean, Gregor said, "I cannot stand Tommy Tallarico. The first minute is an advertisement for himself," which I said the same thing when Faith showed me. I'm like, Well, first off, the first few seconds, he's hyping himself. Not a good start. So is that done in jest, or is he just trying to pimp himself? I mean, what's going on there, Faith?
I think the video is him sitting around with a bunch of friends or something, and they're just goofing around. It wasn't actually something for a show or anything like that. Mm-hmm. I think it's just so he's like saying.
He comes off like a total ass.
Yeah, but that's just the way he has a. Like, I mean,
he's the way he is. He's an ass.
Yeah, no, he's not an ass.
They said yes.
Come on, I mean, a lot of guys. Come on, we all. Guys have to admit, most guys have egos on them, okay? And when they're joking around, they're gonna act all male macho, and that's just the way Tommy is. I mean, whether you watch the show or meet him in real life or something like that. He likes to joke around and stuff like that. Like on Electric Playground, he kind of plays good cop, bad cock.
Yeah.
I can't talk today. Good cop,
something
bad
else in your
cop.
Mind?
Maybe. They just they play good and bad. You know what I mean? And he's usually
the guy. But he plays bad in real life.
No, he doesn't. You know what? When I met him at Video Games Live, I mean, he was so nice. He insisted, like, I was going to leave, and he insisted...
Why was he nice, Faith?
Why was he nice?
What were you wearing?
I was wearing a T-shirt and jeans.
How tight was the T-shirt?
Not tight at all.
Uh-huh.
And he had his hot girlfriend there, too.
I'm sure he did.
She's pretty sweet.
She is pretty sweet.
That's what he's going for.
Anyways, I was going to leave, and he insisted that we stick around and not go anywhere because he wanted to hang out and talk with me afterwards. So we ended up going backstage. He gave me a free copy of a game, a couple of free programs, which he didn't have to give me. We went and hung out at the hotel afterwards. Cool thing is he doesn't drink. He refuses to drink. He has a big thing of lemonade.
Oh, so cool.
Oh, I thought that was cool, considering how many people I know that, get drunk all the time, so... But,
I don't know anybody like that at all.
But, he really, he's the type of guy that he loves his industry.
Himself.
And no, he loves his industry, and he does a lot for the industry. I mean, he's one of the first guys to say that, hey, what's wrong with developers being out in the spotlight? What's wrong with, people actually knowing who makes these games rather than just, Shigeru Miyamoto is the head of the, this, or David Jaffe is the head of this one,
Hey, Faith, I have a question.
Sure.
You say he does so much for the industry. Where else are his shows besides that craptastic G4 network?
Oh, actually in Canada.
Is he like just all over Canada? Is that why I never see him?
Well, yeah, because Electric Playground is a Canadian-made show.
Okay, so he's like a Canadian gaming star, whereas Jeff Keighley is like our U.S.
Actually, Jeff Keighley's on Electric Playground, too.
Well, I know, but... Okay.
Well,
Jeff is another one. Jeff is another one, and he'll never hear this, so it doesn't even matter. But every time I go to an event, he's got an entourage with him.
Really?
Yeah, he walks around with this air of assholeness, and like Jesus just walked into the room. Let's all respect Jesus. Like he always has at least two people with him at all times, and like he just walks around with this smirk on his face. I remember at E3 at the Spore demo, it was him and the guy from EA, the guy that started it all, who I was sitting next to, but Jeff just kind of walks around with this like entourage and like he's gaming people, and he has this real sense of dickery, and like I don't feel like he's like the common gamer kind of guy. And not that I get that sense with Tommy, but I believe if Tommy was ever at Jeff's level, if there is such a thing.
I think we just need to step up. When you go to these events, you need to wear a cape.
I need a fucking entourage is what I need.
You need a guy with a boombox, like with your background music.
I need to get a pimp cup, man.
I need like the crew from Entourage. I need like Turtle, and I need Johnny Drop.
Someone to do your nails.
I need fucking all that stuff. But anyway, I mean, okay, sorry, Faye. I got off on a Jeff Keighley rant. I mean, I like the guy. I like the show he does, and like I love his column in OXM. But it's like seeing this guy backstage just totally ruins the like.
I don't know. Maybe it's just a Canadian thing or something like that. But I mean, Electric Playground has been on TV for 10 years now. It's the longest running video game show compared to X-Play and whatever the hell Jeff Keighley's show is, what is Gamehead or something?
Gamehead, yeah. They got other ones, thank God.
Even there were shows that originally were out, like GamePro magazine had a show, and it only lasted a couple of years. So, I mean, obviously something that Tommy Tallarico and Vic have, whether people say that he's a douchebag or not, obviously people like them and like their reviews, or the show wouldn't have been on for 10 years. And, I mean, like,
Maybe there's nothing else to do in Canada.
The other thing, too, is that, I mean, I'm just a little blogger. I mean, I amount to nothing in the vast world of video game internet sites, yet he's taken the time, and so has his girlfriend Becky, to make me feel like I'm actually, my opinion counts. By inviting me out to Video Games Live and having me come backstage and explain to me, they were talking about the show. I mean, Video Games Live, Tommy and Jack Wall, who's the other creator, they don't make any money off of it. Because every time they bring it to a city, they actually have to front the money to the venue. And if they don't make all their money back by, selling out all the tickets, they don't make any money. So they do this show because they really love video games and they love their fans. So, I mean, to me, that sounds like a guy that really does something for the industry. I don't know. I mean,
you also voted him the hottest guy in your list, so.
Yeah, but that was not me, though. Obviously. That was the people that were voting. I didn't even nominate him, to be honest. It was Becky who came on my site and nominated him. Yeah, the only person that I actually added to that site was Cliffy B. I will admit that was one of my choices, but everybody else added all the other guys on the list. I might have added a couple of the joke guys, too, like Ralph Baer and the ones that were obviously not hot. But
poor Ralph.
There were a bunch that weren't hot. Are you kidding? I would say like 70 to 80% weren't. But I guess not that much.
But it was meant to be a joke list, and I don't think anyone really realized that, because I mean the hundreds of nasty comments that appeared on all the websites that picked it up. Oh my God. I'm just sitting there going, apparently no one gets my
saw that. I remember seeing that list, and I was like, what?
I didn't even actually, I think I sent it to Joystick, and they ignored me.
Joystick ignores everything because they think they're the fucking gods of the earth.
Yeah, they actually linked to us today. Did you?
Yeah, I just
really?
linked it.
Yes, they did.
From what?
For the Jack Thompson thing.
Yep.
Did they? I didn't
yes,
think
they did.
Because I saw Evil Avatar linked to Joystick, and I just refuse to go to Joystick that much anymore. Unless Vlad Cole's making racist comments. Wow, I thought I thought they were gonna fucking completely blackball us because I guess they were kind of forced to link to us that time.
Well, actually no, because Kotaku linked to Game Politics, not us.
Yeah, what was up with that? They did, and also the Final Fantasy thing. But I can't get the video up till later because I've got so much to do this weekend. But I got some good. Speaking of the Final Fantasy thing, I got some good video. I interviewed every single cosplay player that was there.
That's awesome.
Oh, the ugly ones.
And I also I caught the whole. I'm gonna call it the Walk of Shame. It's a cosplay Walk of Shame. They walk these poor people from where it was at. For those of you who don't know, today, October 11th, was Final Fantasy Day in New York City, Final Fantasy 12. So they had all these cosplayers for Final Fantasy and Square Enix. There were some Kingdom Hearts people there, too. So they had them walk from the Times Square information, I guess, like, building or whatever, where the press conference was, to the middle of Times Square, above the NASDAQ sign where they had the trailer of Final Fantasy 12 playing. So it was like a 2-block walk basically, and it was a complete walk of shame. Like, you had all these cosplayers like coming out, and I captured the whole walk, and then I would also capture like the public. Like, there's just tons of tourists around there all the time. It's a nightmare. And so I captured the tourist face as they looked at them, and like the looks of horror and shock as like these freaks are like walking by with like leather that's all beaten up and has holes in it. This guy has silver hair, and these girls in weird yeah, it was great. So I got to do that, and of course the press conference was absolutely lame. It was the most boring shit in the world. They showed the trailer, which was kind of cool. And then they had the executive producer, I can't remember names, so I can't remember his Japanese name, the executive producer of Final Fantasy 12. They had him talk about it, but he doesn't know English, so he would speak in Japanese, and then they had to have the translator talk.
Sweet.
And then they had a question-answer, and the press had absolutely no questions about the game. So after about...
Everything's been released.
After a minute of total silence of, like, the girls like, so, now it's question-and-answer time. Does anybody have any questions? And there was, like, this long minute of silence, and people were just laughing. And, so...
I have green chocobos.
So then they're like,
They all downloaded the
well, you
torrent.
know, the fans in public can ask questions, too. And so, like, they finally dragged this one, like, stereotypical, like, geek up there.
Oh, no.
And,
No.
and he's like, well, what about Final Fantasy 13? And he's like, oh, well, we can't talk about that today. We can only talk about Final Fantasy 12. So then the guy that plays I don't even know the whole characters, because honestly I don't care about Final Fantasy. And so the guy with the silver hair comes up, and the black leather outfit, and he starts asking questions. So when they ask questions of the Final Fantasy guy, he doesn't know English, so they gotta take the time to, like, translate it in Japanese, the question, and then the guy talks to the translator, and then they gotta translate it back to answer. So it takes, like, a whole, like, 5 minutes to answer one question. It's absolutely horrible.
Well, you know what? You know what the problem was. You know, everyone that was there had pirated the game last week.
No, that's why.
That's it, dude.
I asked every single Final Fantasy fan there. I'm like, so, like, and you'll see it on the camera. Hopefully, it picks up on the audio. I'm like, so have you played it yet? They're like, no. I'm like, did you pirate it? No. None of them played it or pirated it. In fact, none of them even played. Like, none of them played the demo. There's only one guy that actually played the demo. So yeah, I guess not everybody's some filthy pirates. You know, they actually probably want to reward the company that makes a good game, which I feel people should do. I don't really kind of believe in pirating unless it's crap. Then you can pirate it. But
what I thought was interesting was people were coming out and saying, "Well, I've pre-ordered this game. It's not going to be out for 30 days. I've legally bought it, so I'm going to go ahead and pirate it because I've already paid for it," which I thought was interesting.
Well, you know,
it's not piracy, it's an advanced preview.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that was on big.
That was Final Fantasy Day, and then I had another big day of seeing my lovely PlayStation 3 and getting to make out with her for a little bit and her sleek black bottom.
Did she overheat?
Ooh, no.
Burn your face?
Oh no, it's so sweet to me. So, but today I went digital, whatever is this weekend, Digital Life, the Ziff Davis thing, and so they had this digital focus press event, which usually sucks. These little pre-events, because it's just a bunch of vendors showing crap that number one I've either already seen or number two I'm going to see at the show the next day. So, but thankfully, SCEA was there, Sony was there, and who I haven't actually gotten. I've been in the gaming journalism business for 2 years, and I've known every single publisher, game maker, or console maker. I have good relations with all of them except SCEA, so I was very happy to meet them, and I went to them first, and they're actually the only people I even talked to when I was there. And so they had, Resistance set up. And, of course, all the other people that went to this event knew nothing about gaming, so I could just sit there and play as long as I wanted, because all the rest of them were these old tech farts that know nothing about tech, but they just go because their old fart magazine makes them go, or old newspaper.
Which, by the way, makes up 80% of E3.
Yeah, no, it sucks. I mean, there's people coming up. I'm sitting there playing Resistance, and I hear people in the background going, so, what is this?
Yeah, exactly.
When is this coming out? How much does this cost? They're what's the PlayStation 3?
Oh my god.
It's like, what the fuck are you talking? And keep in mind, I see these fucking old people everywhere at all my events. I have no idea who they work for. I had one PRP person say to me, it was like, you're like the youngest tech person I've ever met at these events. It's so odd. And it is fucking odd. You got these old people that write for these magazines and these newspapers that are just completely out of touch. So take that in mind next time you read something somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
These people have absolutely no clue. So anyway, I finally got to sit down with Resistance. I played the PlayStation 3 on a few occasions, but this was the first time I played Resistance, which has been pretty much hyped as the must-have game for the PS3 when it comes out, and it fucking rocks.
Really?
I mean, like, it's totally mindless, and it's just a first-person shooter, but the visuals and the sound and the fun of it is what makes it worth it. Like, I guess if you want something in-depth in the story, go play Final Fantasy 88 for the 100th time, but, like, it's just, like, a fun game to play, and the controls were actually very nice. I'm not a big fan of FPS on the PS2 controller,
right?
Because it's not really designed for that, but it actually worked. I'm actually a fan of the PS3 controller.
Did it use any motion sensing?
They said it does, but in the levels that I played, I didn't actually do it. So if it does, I don't know. I'm assuming it does. I've heard that it does. I think you can shake off enemies when they come on, like if they grab onto you or something. I think I've seen that somewhere else, but I'm not certain on that. But speaking about the PlayStation 3 controller, if you haven't had it in your hands, it's actually a little bit different than the PS2, obviously. Right. It's lighter. It feels a little bit more responsive. Like it's actually a really nice controller. The triggers thing now instead of the other button is actually kind of cool. But it really, I've been hyped. I've been slowly building up like anticipation for the PS3, and this just kind of like blew my load at once. Someone turned on the TV, so it kind of like blew my load at once. And then I also played NBA 07, which is kind of meh. Like, don't buy that game.
Those screenshots just scare me, dude. They look like they're soulless robots just staring you down.
NBA 07's weird, but I do have video that I need to put up. I have it on YouTube right now, and I guess I'll post it up tomorrow when I get a chance. I just didn't have a chance tonight. But they got this cool replay mode, and they just so they could show off the cool tech they have, but they had, like, rendered every single person individually, and, like, in the crowd and everything, and, like, they went, like, in the replay, they went all the way through the crowd and through the floor and everything. It was kind of cool.
Now, having seen the Xbox 360 version versus the PS3,
for what?
For NBA 2K7?
No. This was NBA 07. This was the Sony first-person NBA game.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. No, it's not. But NBA 07 doesn't look. NBA 2K7 looks much better than NBA 07 on PS3. NBA 2K7 is a fucking nice game. It's so much better than live, and it's so much better than like NBA 2K6 last year was good. But NBA 2K7 this year is phenomenal. Like, if you're a basketball fan, I spent a lot of time with 2K6 last year. So if you're a big basketball fan, I so recommend you get NBA 2K7. Don't bother with EA if you don't have to. I mean, seriously, it like the animation, the way they got rid of the cheap dunking in NBA 2K7, just fucking sweet. And if you live in Canada and you like hockey, then you can get the EA hockey game. I hear it's better. So I have NHL 2K7. So
going back.
What was that, Faith?
Is it good?
I'm not a big hockey fan. I mean, I read in EGM they liked and I think OXM had the same opinion. They liked the EA version better. So I guess if you're one of the NHL fans out there, one of the 10, then Blades of Steel. Nero just brought to my attention Blades of Steel, how awesome that fucking game was.
That's right.
Oh my god, I used to play the crap out of that game.
I heard they changed the controls around for the new NHL, and it actually makes more sense than the
for
previous
EA
games.
Or 2K? For EA they did, I
For
think.
EA, yeah.
Yeah, no, I heard the EA game's really nice.
Yeah.
So anyway, I got to talk with Sony finally, and we finally exchanged cards, and I got to know them, and I was very honest with them about the whole PR mistakes they've been having. I was like, look, I mean, you guys are fucking up. I mean, I'm not saying like you guys are fucking up. I'm saying Sony is just it seems like a mess right now. Like, and you guys have had no relationship with the press. I mean, I've been a journalist for all this time. I met other journalists. They say that they have the same stories I do. I told them about Dan Su's column in EGM this month's EGM, about how even he says Sony, all the other companies have reached out to them but Sony. It's been very spotty, and they were like, yeah, we understand that this is happening, and we're looking to change that. I guess that the company that is now handling their PR in America just started a few months ago.
We can tell.
They said they are having a release parties, and they're going to have a release party in New York City. So they're going to have a PlayStation 3 release party in New York City within, I guess, a month or two, before November 17th, and possibly I will be able to get a PS3 review unit. They put my name down for one, so if I do get one, and if I do get a Wii, I plan on having a Destructoid party at the Robert Suma estate, possibly. So if you're a Podtoid reader and you live in New York City and you're not creepy, we may have a pre-release party if I can get the Wii and the PS3 before launch, like I did the 360. Or even if I get it at launch and you don't have it and you just want to come over and play it, we can do that.
You know what I think you should do? You should just go to like the streets and just pick up some homeless people,
Homeless
like, move into your house.
Oh, nice.
Well, there's
This is
plenty
the
of
Wii
those.
remote.
There aren't a whole lot around where I live because I live in a really nice area.
Oh, really
But
nice.
I don't have to go too far actually to get bums. So that's what happened today. I was very excited.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Going back to the Fall of Man, what about the destructible the environments?
And Resistance.
Yeah.
No, an NBA.
You know, I didn't.
Cut the crowd in half.
I didn't notice a whole lot. Like I was actually, there were like paths I was trying to go down, or like I was trying to see if I could get around or whatever, and I tried to fire at them, and they weren't fully destructible.
Am I mistaken, or wasn't that one of the things that was like really billed about?
I don't
the
know.
game?
You know, I didn't notice it.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice it. But I mean, I spent 15 minutes with it, and I played 3 different levels. So maybe there's something I didn't see, but it didn't like pop out at me that there was this destructibleness.
That's definitely a feature that's missing in these sports games. Like you just need to be able to like get into the crowd and just like destroy people.
Dude, if it's not a true NBA simulator until you can get pissed off at a fan and throw a punch.
Throw your drink at them.
Yep.
Yeah, so,
That'd be great.
But let's talk about what everybody's playing right now. Let's get off me for like just a second, and then we'll come back on me. Nero, are you playing anything different from what you were playing last week?
Yes. I've put down Zelda, and I actually had a computer crash this week. I lost 2 hard drives. But the game that I always install first when I redo a computer is Unreal Tournament. So
The original?
The original, the Unreal Tournament from '99 or whatever. So I actually been playing that pretty much every other night.
And the question is, have you ever pwned Cliffy B?
No, I can't say I have.
Oh,
Faith, are you still playing?
like that's
Okami?
like the ultimate thing in the game. Pardon?
Are you still
Yeah,
playing
I gotta.
Okami?
Oh yeah,
Are
Okami,
you
yeah.
Still playing Okami?
Yeah,
Have you beaten
I
it
am.
yet?
No, I've not beaten it. I'm almost finished, but I gotta say, it's a dirty game.
Are there more bugs?
I know. Let's see. There was the fisherman with the shell thong. Yeah, there was the goddess with the butt hanging out. There's the priestess who you refer to as Busty Babe because every time you look at her, you look directly at her boobs and they shake back and forth when she talks.
Sweet.
There's today I seen a fat mermaid-like chick with the tiniest little shells over her big scary boobs. It's just really, I don't know. It's really whoever made the game is a pervert.
Maybe they could make your list of pixelated nudity articles.
Oh, it's not.
Well, you haven't beaten it yet,
Next.
Faith? It's been like 2 weeks.
You know, I know. I've been busy.
I'm not interested in that game because it has no slingshots.
Orcus, what are you playing?
I am playing Final Fantasy 1. Old school. 8-bit.
Are you doing Dawn of Souls or just straight up ROMs?
Straight up NES ROMs.
Hardcore. You know, one thing I've always wanted to do is go back to that game and try to beat it with 4 white wizards.
Oh, man.
Which would probably require about 300 hours of gameplay.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're completely useless for the first, 40 levels. But, yeah, I think that would be... If I needed to waste, a gigantic chunk of my life, that would be my choice.
Well, if you have that kind of free time, you
Unfortunately, I don't.
Let me have that.
Oh, Orcus is breaking up. So, what are you playing?
I'm doing kind of the same thing he's doing, like old school stuff. I just popped in Gradius 3 today, and I went from beginning to end in that without dying today. So I was really
I should
happy.
give you my... Do you have a PSP?
I don't have a PSP, man. I sold it for a DS Lite.
Oh, too bad. I have the whole Gradius.
I know, the Gradius Anthology or whatever.
Yeah, I don't like
every
those
one
games.
of
I
them
would have given it to you.
Oh, I love Gradius. I love it.
Those games are extremely hard. The PSP version, I've actually tried it, and it's hard. It's impossible.
That's what I love like face-punchingly hard games. Like stuff like that's why I like Devil May Cry with Dante Must Die mode and stuff like that. I really enjoy challenging games. So, like the shooter that Nero posted with like the bullet hell heart attack that he talked about. I really want to play that game, like badly, because I really think I'd be good at it.
Yeah, it's a PS2 import, and apparently it's completely playable. All the menus are in English, and whatnot.
Cool. I'll have to check it out then.
Yeah.
So besides that, I've been playing World of Warcraft. A buddy of mine at work got me rehooked on it when I decided to put it down. So
after South Park, did South Park make?
Well, a buddy of mine, he has a 60 character, and he's like, dude, you gotta play again. Dude, you gotta play again. Dude, you gotta play. Shut up! So I decided to do it.
Yeah, it's like a little cult.
Pretty much, yeah. And now I'm back in the cycle, and I'm gonna get Burning Crusade next month. So we'll see how that goes.
Speaking of Burning Crusade, I got I had interviewed oh god, I can't remember.
A stripper from the club.
So I had a relationship with Blizzard.
What do you know? No.
And, so I was on their list to get into closed beta, and I got an email. I guess I got it last week, but God, I cannot remember names right now, and it fucking kills me. Like Luke from 1UP. Is he a part of 1UP? Do you guys know if he got fired or whatever?
I know who his father is.
No, Luke Smith. Like I always try to find his blog, and I was trying to find it the other day, and I was looking at who was on the editorial staff for 1UP, and his name wasn't listed, and I see that he hasn't posted a news item in a while. So I'm wondering if he got fired, but I hope he hasn't. He's the only guy I really like over there. But anyway, he had talked about in their 1UP show, or in their 1UP podcast, about getting into the WoW beta, and I got the same key for Burning Crusade, so hopefully I'll be able to talk about it as I'm playing it, and hopefully I'll be able to record it for you guys and be able to post it, but that was kind of exciting for me to be able to do that. So,
awesome.
But other than that, what I'm playing right now is I'm still playing Bomberman on the PSP. I can't put it down. It's like fucking crap. And you know what I'm playing, which kind of sucks, but is also kind of funny and kind of fun to play, is Just Cause. Just Cause, okay. Have you guys seen video of it yet?
Isn't that like the game where you're kind of like Che Guevara or something like that? Or
Yeah, well, if you're like leading a revolution and all, and it's like open-ended GTA kind of thing. But have you guys seen? I don't think you guys seen the video of the actual gameplay yet. But like the way the character walks is almost as funny as in Perfect Dark Zero. Like it's almost in that same ridiculous manner. Like he walks from the hip. Like it's kind of odd to explain. Like he walks with his hip out and kind of slouches his back and like has his gun to the side, and he walks kind of like an artard, like he just walks and like it's the most ridiculous thing, and so far I'm not really that far into it. I'm like 30 minutes into it, and it's just incredibly easy and mind-numbing. Like the targeting system is automatic, so I can stay in this like far-away third-person mode, and I don't have to hit anything to target. It automatically targets enemies. So all I have to do is have my reticule anywhere near an enemy and automatically target them, and it'll stay on them. And all you do is shoot. And like it's incredibly simple right now.
So it takes out everything that you do, and you just push a button and you win.
But it's kind of cool in the fact that it's huge. First of all, the game world is absolutely humongous. The fact that you can do these like stunts off cars, like you can jump off cars and parachute, and like I jumped off this mountain once and just like parachuted my way down instead of dying, and like it's little things like that that actually kind of make it fun and make me want to keep playing it. So I mean I've seen a lot of bad reviews, and like I guess I'll give it a bad review. I don't even know if I'll give it a bad review, because it's hard to give a game a bad review that I actually enjoy playing. Like it sucks on the outside, and like the things of it kind of suck, but like it's still fun to play. Like what do you do with something like that? You know what I mean?
I was a little suspicious when I learned about the game, because usually when a company says, "Oh, we have really large environment," does that mean it just has like a lot of large fields and the same thing copied over and over, or is there actually environments
no, it's like a jungle. It's a big jungle island, so there's not going to be much variety. Like it's all small towns and old cars and.
Okay, so it's just a big stretched out map with.
It's like Test Drive. It's like a big island of Hawaii kind of thing.
Okay, so there really isn't a lot of intricacy to that bigness.
I guess not. I don't know. I mean, I've only explored a little bit of the island so far, but it's a friggin' island. I mean, how much are you gonna find on an island? You know, what do you expect? But I don't know. It's still kind of fun to play. I guess it's getting bad reviews. Like, I guess the problem is that these games cost $60, and they probably aren't worth $60. So I guess if I would recommend someone not paying $60 for it. Like if it were $30, I would say go out and buy it.
Right, like the Simple 2000 model.
Yeah, like sort of like Bomberman Act Zero. Like if that game was $20, then I would say go out and buy it. But the fact that it's like, I don't even know how much it is. Let's say it's $60.
$49.95.
Even $50. I mean, $50 is too much for that game. It's just like that's kind of where it gets the ridiculous nature. But I guess if you own a 360 and you see this game in a bargain bin one day, I'd suggest you pick it up. It's actually kind of fun.
Yeah.
So let's kind of go through the news and stuff that happened this week. And Nero wants to talk about
Play Beyond.
The PlayStation 3 ridiculous PR campaign.
Play Beyond.
Yeah, you know what I'm to say about this crap.
Well, I'm just confused. It just kind of came out of left field. You know, we've been looking at Play Beyond since E3. They had the huge billboard and the Spider-Man 3 font or whatever, and we then were shifted away from that to This Is Living, and we had our fun with that, and all of a sudden we're back to Play Beyond. They have this website, Play Beyond, where the E in Beyond is a number 3.
You got to enter your birthday now. You see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The site's changed. I think this.
And I can't even get in. Oh wait, my birthday is 2006. What the hell is that?
Yeah. They'll redirect you to the Sony site if you don't do it right. It happened to me this morning. But there's just weird site with just some junk on the wall that you can click, but it doesn't actually do anything. A couple of websites, ourselves included, have circulated these strange billboards with.
Maybe the website's overheating.
So what do you think this is about? Like, what do you think this is supposed to appeal to?
Well.
Does anybody have a clue? Like, I'm looking at the site right now. I got in, and there's like weird shapes on the walls that mean absolutely nothing.
People like mystery.
And I click on them, and nothing's happening. I click on the X, nothing like what?
I must have spent half an hour on this site today, just trying to drag things, trying to look at. I even pulled up the source code to see if I can find anything in the source code. I didn't see anything there.
I mean, it looks pretty. It's cool looking.
Yeah, it's cool looking. I really like the chess piece. That's on its side bleeding. I thought that was pretty cool. I think it's a sharp look, but I don't get it.
Maybe maybe these letters get jumbled together.
On the billboard, they have like that 11/7 or whatever, like the 3 lines and the 7.
Yeah.
Like
who can you imagine? I went to that thing tonight, and there were tech people in the tech field that had no clue about the specifics of PlayStation 3. Can you imagine the general public like seeing that thing and being like, "What the fuck is that?"
What's funny though is that as I've talked to a couple of people, they're not informed as to what is exactly going on with the PS3, but they can't wait to buy it. Just because the PS2 has this reputation of being,
totally banking on that reputation.
Oh yeah.
Now, they got away with it, but it's like it's so.
Yeah, well,
like
we all bought
N64s.
N64s.
Totally douchebag. It's like. I wish they didn't have that attitude. They would be. It's like they would be even more the king of the consoles if they didn't have that total ass bag, douchebag attitude about everything.
I kind of compare the PS3 launch to the N64, where we just bought it because we love Nintendo so much.
Well, at least there weren't just 2 games at launch.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
But I mean, I don't know what to make of this site. I don't know how I feel about it. Are we supposed to do something with this?
I don't know.
Is
Click
more
on the
coming?
thing.
No?
I click them like over and over, and they kind of bounce up, and that's kind of cool.
Obviously, there's 3 symbols, or the 4 symbols, which are the, the buttons or whatever.
Yeah, X, square, circle. But they're all like jumbled.
No, but they're different though, aren't they?
No.
Hold on, let me go.
Well, the buttons are there, and then there's. I'm thinking the other shapes they come together to spell something. But I'm not smart enough to do that, to put them together.
They all look like the actual buttons cut in half. They just look like half the button, like half a circle, half an X. Like,
I was hoping that wasn't the case, but you're probably right.
I don't know.
It makes even more no sense, because my theory made more sense. Now it makes even more.
This is kind of up there with when Halo 2 was coming out and they did the I Love Bees thing.
Can anyone read the PlayStation on the Can anyone read PlayStation on the PlayStation console sitting there?
Well, let me get out the old accessibility magnifier.
I can't even read PlayStation 3.
Right-click on it, see if you can zoom in.
No, it says settings.
Settings.
Now, this is a terrible site idea because for average Joes looking at this, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't tell you anything. It doesn't, It's a waste.
Play Beyond on their billboards? Is the website address on their billboards?
I'm not sure.
I have no idea.
Well, see, that's the thing, though. Is this really a launched website, or is this a teaser? Or is this a puzzle?
Who fucking cares, man? Like, just show me the fucking game.
This is a game, man.
It's just like, they're wasting so much money. It's like they don't... Like, who are these people? Like, what's going on in these companies?
Weird Al Yankovic is their new PR director.
It makes you really question, like, the common sense.
Oh, don't be mean to Al.
No, Al's great.
Like Faith said, we're just bloggers. We're just regular people, and we have more common sense than Sony when it comes to this stuff. Like, if you just showed the games and what the PlayStation 3 can do, like, all your hardcore fans are going to buy it anyway. That's who's looking at these sites and these things and being like, oh, I can't really do anything. But, like, the general public, who I guess Nintendo is trying to reach out to, like, if they saw that the PlayStation 3 is that much better and is worth $600, don't you think that would be more effective than some vague melding clock and some chess piece bleeding to death?
You know what I think Sony's doing? I think they are purposely, bringing out the worst ad campaigns with these stereotypes and racist stereotypes, having these, making themselves look like idiots every time they're quoted on something, coming out with these, a tiny amount of units and making it darn near impossible to actually get the system right away. I think they're doing this on purpose. I think they want themselves to constantly be in the news because they're
like
idiots.
The Boy Who Cried Wolf.
Yeah.
It's like kind of like the
Possibly,
Boy Who Cried Wolf.
yeah.
Like, is there ever going to be a point where they cry wolf enough and people are just sick of it? I mean, do you guys see? I mean, I honestly, whatever, you can take my opinion how you want it. I honestly see Sony being number 1 again, 360 being number 2, and Nintendo being number 3. Like, do you guys see Sony at all losing this next race because of these antics? You think gamers are that?
I really think that they're beginning to stunted. I really think that they're stunted with all this. There's a lot of hate going around, and Sony now, the PlayStation 3 has been synonymous in so many gamer circle jokes. I mean, this is waiting.com, and then they came out with the Sony Defense Force. Come on, this is getting ridiculous.
People are still gonna buy it. I mean, look at the pre-order, circuit.
Oh, yeah, they flew off the shelves, man. 10 minutes, they were gone.
Mm-hmm.
I read today on Dan Shu's, his EMG 1UP account or whatever, even he couldn't get a copy, or get a pre-order PS3.
Oh,
and
I just resigned the fact that I couldn't.
And the fact of the matter is that he and the rest of the people at 1UP and EMG and PlayStation Magazine and all those magazines that are tied into the same group, they're gonna probably only have one PS3 for the websites, magazines, everything to be able to test games on. I mean, when a company can't even get out enough units to the people that are going to be reviewing these games, I mean, obviously, it's time to start firing some people. Because
that's going to be interesting because, I mean, when I spoke with Sony, I'm like, look, I've gotten the 360 and Nintendo sends me everything, like, and I saw that the PlayStation Magazine got a PS3, like, am I going to be able to get one? They're like, sure, just give me your card and I'll put product or review unit on the back of it.
I will speak to the devil on your behalf.
I'm guessing they are going to have enough. But if you work at somewhere like 1UP where you have to share it among 50 rabid jackals, I mean, yeah, that's going to be a problem.
You know, I mean, you would think that they would at least provide 1 unit per, medium. You know what I mean? To have, what is it, like 4 or 5 they got in the group between like 1UP and like
yeah.
That's
I
ridiculous.
Hard to believe they're just going to get 1 at Ziff Davis.
I mean,
Like
honestly,
the main headquarters in San Francisco, you think it's just going to get 1?
See, what Sony should have done is just release them all on eBay for like $10,000 each.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
What they should have done is just wait till next year, honestly.
Yeah,
all I know is that the employees of Microsoft and Nintendo should probably be like actually jumping into bed with Sony because they're just screwing up things so badly. I mean, it's gonna make it so easy for my.
I don't think it really matters in the long run. Like, I guess it'll matter this Christmas, but in the long run, is it really going to matter?
Well,
no.
the one thing that really stems from me is they screwed over Europe really bad, and that's what pissed off a lot of people. And they were the ones that really pushed the PlayStation 2 over the hump. They were the ones that had the most PlayStation 2s, in their area. They were the biggest gaming console market, and they screwed them until March 2007. So.
Right. Well, I think we're all going to get screwed, by just the lack of supply. I don't honestly think I'm going to get one this holiday season. It seems like, I might be able to scrape one up next year, just because.
CTZ is only getting the core.
Yeah.
He might as well not even get one.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, why even bother?
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous. They should have just released the 5.
I'd use that thing as a coffee table.
The man works at a video game store, and he had trouble. So.
Yeah. No, I'm going to be buying an Xbox 360 this Christmas and a new computer. I don't even want to see a PS3 in my house until like a year from now.
Who's going to be standing at GameStop 8 o'clock this Friday for their Wii?
If I had money, I think I would. I'm going to scrounge up as much money as I possibly can.
What time do you think they open?
10 o'clock, I think.
They open at 10 o'clock? I wonder if
Probably.
I should go by mine and interview some of the people. I probably should, huh? I'm like a couple blocks away from it.
Yeah.
That's kind of weird. Like, Kotaku posted this thing about, the Nintendo World Store has been secretly having pre-orders for 2 weeks. I'm like, well, didn't you see the video that you guys posted of mine where I interviewed the fans and they said they pre-ordered it? And Brian and Crescente posted that, which is odd. But, so yeah, I don't know how big the demand in New York is going to be when the Nintendo World Store's been doing it for a while now already anyway.
It's going to be huge around here, though. The EB Games guys, they are pissed, because I call them maybe 3 times a week, and they have the same response. They're like, STFU and AGPG, but I'm joking. But it's pretty bad, dude. They're getting robotic with it. No, we're not taking pre-orders. Goodbye.
What do you think is going to happen to the Wii after a year? Do you think it's going to still be hot?
It really depends on the games, huh?
Yeah.
What games do you think, besides Mario, what sort of game, do you see any game on the horizon? I mean, in EGM, in the Rumor Mole section, this month's EGM, they talked about, the Rumor Mole, or whatever his name is, talked about how there's going to be a Sims game specific to the Wii coming out. And then we've also heard rumblings that a Spore-specific Wii is coming out. I mean, is that what it's going to take to make this thing live past 2 years? Does anybody have why do you think, how's the Wii going to survive 2 years from now?
I really think that the Wii is going to survive. A lot of it's going to be third-party based. I mean, Nintendo does a great job. They make quality products. This we all know. But, I mean, it's third-party support is going to be key here, and the Wii really can't get the short end of the stick here. We need exclusive titles for it to really survive. It has to have that extra flair.
So what is it going to need 2 years from now to compete with we're going to start 2 years from now, we're really going to see, if you think Gears of War looks good, imagine 2 years from now when developers are really pushing the hardware. And then 2 years from now when PlayStation 3 developers really understand the sell and can give you these huge, massive games with advanced AI, with the best graphics, more people have HD sets, more people have broadband.
I think
how is Nintendo possibly going to compete in 2 years when the gimmick has sort of worn off? what kind of game are they going to need to keep that attention?
I think that just speaking to their earlier strategy and the things that they said, back when it was called the Revolution, was the casual appeal of the Wii and the alternative gaming experiences that they're going to offer. If they can do what they've done with the DS, which is, a lot of people say it's technically inferior to the PSP, but just because the weirdness of the games and
the
quality
PSP sucks. But see, but the thing is, when I hear that comparison, it's like, but the PSP really does suck, and there's really not any competition there. Like the DS is really in a league of its own.
Right, but
it's not really the same thing. The Wii has two great competitors. It's not like the 360 and the PS3 are almost unplayable, and they'll have no games. Like the PSP is just a sucky system. The controls suck. The games suck. I mean, it's just like a sorry-ass system. So basically, the DS is in a league of its own. So I don't really buy that argument.
So is the Wii. I mean, with the whole innovation, trying to compare three different things, it's kind of uncomparable.
Like okay, but it's not. The
what I'm
DS
saying
and the PSP are both handhelds, right? But the DS has better games. There's 3 different home consoles, not counting the PC.
One example where I kind of draw the conclusion is Trauma Center, where they're remaking that DS experience with the stylus with the Wiimote. I think
Trauma Center is going to be the system killer?
Oh yeah, that's right. But just as an example of the kinds of games that will be released for the system, and I think that there's also a strong market for the cutesy stuff, like Contact. I've heard is an excellent game. It got really good reviews on EGM. And that's
how is the Wii going to be any different than the GameCube? Yeah, of course the kids are going to have it, and of course mom and dad may play the Wii with their kid every once in a while. But as far as like the PS2 gamers and the college students and beyond who make up this large segment of the gaming population, like what's going to draw them to the Wii?
QT games just aren't going to cut it on a home console.
Exactly.
That's just not going to be good enough. I'm sorry. I think it is.
Give me Gears of War over fucking Zelda. Give me Gears of War over Mario. I play these games and they're fun and they're cute, but it's just not like, I played this for 20 years or so. It's like I'm ready for something new already.
You know what's going to keep the Wii going? The fact that most people end up having 2 systems in their house. I mean, how many people here generally have like either the Xbox and a GameCube or, a PS2 and a GameCube? I mean, my first buy was a PS2, but I bought the GameCube because there was a lot of games that just were not coming out for the PS2 that were, the type of games that I wanted to play. I mean, okay, I'm a girl. I like my cutesy games. I like my Mario. I like my Zelda. I like my Animal Crossing.
But those games are already there, Faith. That's
true, but the difference is that you're going to be bringing in with the fact that you now have this, games where you're going to have to get up off your butt and actually, play and be a little more interactive. You're going to be getting all these people that also like to go out to the arcade and play these types of games like, Dance Dance Revolution or
but I can play that already. I can already play that on the other.
Yeah, but when you go to an arcade, you can play it where you can play with the boxing gloves and you can actually punch people, or you can play like you're playing real hockey or you're playing football and you're actually grabbing the football and throwing it. Well, instead you're going to have the Wii remote in your hand. I mean, that's the big thing. I love going to. There's an arcade down in Niagara Falls, and they have a lot of games like that where you're more interactive. I don't go to play the actual, fighting games or whatever. I go to play the ones where you're more interactive and actually doing stuff, and I think that's the type of crowd that Nintendo's going to bring in. Because before that, you would have a random game here and there, like Donkey Kong Congas or whatever it was, or Dance Dance Revolution. But now you're going to have all these games that are going to allow you to get up off your butt and actually be more interactive with the game. And the other thing too is that, like I said, I'm terrible at shooting games because I am terrible with aiming. As the games go along...
You think you're going to be better at aiming with a Wiimote?
Yeah, but as the games go along, the aiming's going to get better. I mean, right now it's still in the first, year. Things are going to be a little
What
off.
makes
But
you think your hand's going to be as steady and
because
the aim is steady?
when I play games like Carnival King, which I love playing when I go to the arcade, I am way better at shooting when I can, basically look and click. But if I have to sit there,
but that's like a heavy. Is that like a heavy controller?
no,
is that
it's
like
not.
a gun or what is that?
It's a gun, yeah. It's just.
But it's like a weighted gun. It's somewhat weighted, right?
No, not really. It's got it has a thing attached to it because it hooks into the system,
problem
so
with
that
the
kind of makes
Wiimote-
it heavier.
The problem with the Wiimote is it's very light. So
It's just regular remote control, though.
It's substantial, though. I mean, it's not like a remote control light. It kind of feels like it's solid all the way through.
But what I'm trying to say, though, is for me, using the analog sticks and attempting to target using 2 analog sticks, I don't know, my hand-eye coordination is not good enough, but when I'm holding something like a light gun in my hand, or in the case of probably the Wii remote, it makes it a lot easier for me to play those types of games. So
I don't
think,
know. For me, I mean, the Wii games I've played so far that had anything to do with first-person shooting or aiming, it's so much easier to do on a standard controller. It's not even close how much easier it is.
But I think that the party element of it, of just having a bunch of people over and
Yep, that's the big one right there.
yeah, that's another thing too.
Total
Having
jackass on your sofa. has some.
everyone
has
gets
some
drunk
merit.
and starts playing Wii Sports.
Yes.
Yeah, but the same thing about the GameCube, and we see
Yeah, I
what
mean,
it is right now.
this is what I'm saying, is that the Wii is just going to be another GameCube.
Well, even
Faith is going to
Miyamoto
be
said
there.
that, so
The
you're not
Nintendo
alone.
fans are going to be there. The kids are going to be there. That's that installed base is going to be there. And yeah, Nintendo's probably going to turn a profit, and Nintendo's probably going to consider it successful, but they're not going to be number one.
Well, no, that's not the question you asked. You asked what was going to keep it going into the second year and still making it popular. You
And
didn't
it's going
ask.
to be
But it's not
kids.
going to be. It's going to be popular as much as the GameCube is popular, though.
But they still were popular enough to turn a profit. They didn't. I mean, I honestly
So
think.
you'd be okay with, you have no problem with Nintendo being third and just making the games they usually make.
Nintendo has always been a kids system, and I really don't see them ever changing the market that they go after. And lately, especially, I don't know, it seems like there's a lot more casual gamers coming on and buying Xbox 360 because they can play Uno on it. Or they're buying, a DS because it's easy to play. I think Nintendo is going and tapping into a market that they know that they're not going to be able to compete with the bigger systems, so let's go for the market that nobody's going after. When I got my PS2, I bought it for Final Fantasy, but I didn't like the Xbox because most of their games were geared towards guys, like hardcore gamer guys that wanted to play games like Halo, play sports games, they did not have...
And those are the guys that put millions of dollars into the gaming industry.
Exactly, but I'm saying that Nintendo can't compete with that. They are never going to, I don't know, they're just never going to be able to create those types of games, so why not go after the market that Sony
So
and
why
Xbox...
not just be a software and peripheral company?
You mean a Sega?
Do you know how freaking cool that would be? Can you imagine Mario on the PS3?
Well, it happened with Sega, so I wouldn't rule that out as a non-possibility, especially beyond the PlayStation 3, where Nintendo's really not going to have the resources to build.
Because
I don't think there's gonna. I honestly do not think. I asked Perrin this, and she said yes, of course there will be, but I don't think there's going to be another Nintendo console after this. I really don't.
I don't get that feeling either. Perhaps only handheld.
I definitely think they'll stay in the handheld, but they just, if they refuse to compete, and if they partner up with Apple, then yeah, they'll stay in it. But if they continue just to be on their own, there's just no way. Because Microsoft's in this to win this. I mean, they're just going to spend God loads of money and they don't care. Sony will go bankrupt 100 times over. So, okay, so we're going to stop now. Alright, so since we're pretty much done dissing Nintendo and how much it sucks, let's get into the contests that are currently going on, and I'll just go ahead and start with mine, which isn't really a contest, it's just I got this copy of the Dance Dance Revolution Supernova, and I can't stand DDR games. One, because I suck at them, I can't even get them. I'm actually pretty coordinated, but for whatever reason I can't do the retard dance. So I just don't even try anymore. And then when I see kids do them, I just laugh. So I don't want to be that guy. So anyway, I put up this thing about does anyone want DDR, and if you do, just make your case. So I'll read some of the sayings. The first one, yeah, there are some really good ones. The first one from Gluttony was, "Give it to me. Think, if anyone sees me playing that game, my chances of procreating will be reduced to almost zero. And no one wants many gluttons running amok in the world now, do they?" So he makes a good case for, if he gets it, then there'll be less babies in the world, which is a positive to the environment, which is pretty good in my book. So that's a good one from Gluttony. But Maybeck is kind of on my side about how sucky DDR is, because he says if I give it to him, then he'll promise to make a flying UFO out of it, or a dumpster, or whatever best fits, which is kind of cool. And then there were some boring ones, like Willie Dude said that he wouldn't act like a wuss, and then he double posted, which automatically means and then Poopface says that he actually plays the Beat Mania game, which is absolutely horrible. Have you guys ever played that or seen it?
Yeah.
I own it, dude. I'm sick at it. I love it. Yes, dude. I'm freaking awesome at Beat Mania.
Oh my god, that is the worst game alive. I remember getting that thing. I'm like, cool, I can be a DJ? That's awesome. This is like a Guitar Hero, but I'm a DJ. And then, oh my god, it's nothing like you're a DJ. You're just trying to hit these big-ass buttons. And
well, you gotta think, it appeals to me because I play piano. I really enjoy piano. And also, like I said, I really like face-punchingly hard games. And that's one of them that has the most ridiculous, learning curve ever.
That is, the most sadomasochistic game ever.
Which is the arcade one that's similar? I think it's called, is it Puyo Puyo? You know what I'm talking about?
That's like a puzzle game, dude.
No, but Beat Mania is awful. Do not buy it, whatever you do. Don't listen to Savant.
I like the guy that said I'm a fat bastard who needs to lose weight.
Yeah, and some guy said he had man boobs. You don't want a guy that has man boobs.
I like the one that wants to use it to settle the ninja versus pirate debate.
I like that one too.
That's a good one.
Now, Wheelie Dude just goes too much. Wheelie Dude, you're not getting it because you're just too eager.
Yeah.
He has, I see a whole bunch. Oh, this White Finger guy, his was actually kind of funny. He says, please give me your DDR game so I can give it to my wife for Christmas. I gave her DDR on stream last year, so giving her a free copy of DDR this year too will make me the cheapest and most original gift giver of a husband. However, I can then spend the money I saved to buy Wii games for her for Christmas too, so that I can solidify my position as Jurgis has in here. Yes, so he understands that the Wii is a bad present, and by giving that to her will make him a jerky present. Or husband.
No, I think he's getting at the fact that he's
going
to
is that he can play the Wii? So yes,
yeah,
I will not contribute to him buying a Wii. So he
to buy Wii games for her, he's meaning that
yeah.
I'm going to buy them for her, but they're really for me.
Yeah, you're right. I will not contribute to that now.
Here's an interesting one from Slinker, who says he has this scene setup. He says, I spent $700 on a better-than-arcade metal pads. I got bored of DDR Economics, Max 2, Extreme 2, ITG, PIU, and the sequels. I got Stepmania, blah, 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 blah. I spent all my money on dance stuff, and I'm the biggest fan, so give it to me.
Yeah, see, now that's the guy I emailed. I actually emailed that guy, and if you're listening, fucking email me back, or I'm just going to give this away to someone else. I emailed him, like, if you can give me pictures of your fucking setup, then I'm going to send you the game, and I haven't heard back from him.
$700, that's easily a Cobalt
If I don't hear back
pad.
from him, that thing is going to someone else.
He would deserve it out of anyone.
I think Brockle Sox might win it, because, listen to this genius. I'm reading this word for word, I think that you should give the DDR to me because, with a Z, Daddy make pee-pee on Mommy and makes Mommy stop breathing with his hands. Daddy keeps Mommy in the bathtub, and I could take a bath every day with her because she sleeps there for days. I love DDR so I can show Mommy how to play. When she is done taking her long bath and sleeping, and Daddy can watch. Daddy spits beer and vodka on me, and I don't dance for him. So if I had a DDR machine, I could dance faster, and maybe he would let me have some food that didn't come out of his mouth all the time. Please, DDR!
Dude, there's freaking really some sick people out there.
That guy has my vote. Unfortunately, he didn't identify himself. We don't have an email address.
Yeah, I don't have it. Brockle Socks. Dude, if you're listening, you win, okay? If this other guy doesn't email, alright, so that guy. So anyway, I'll make a decision in a couple of days. I guess we didn't come to anything here, but if you really want this game, please speak up because it's stinking up my office and I don't want it there and I hate it. And that's that. So Nero, are there any other contests going on?
We have a regular contest of the Nintendo Wii giveaway. We actually paid out the sum of the amount to the last contest winner, which was Floyd, who won the first Nintendo DS on Destructoid. I had offered to pre-order it for him or send him cash. He's like, hell yeah, I want the cash. So we sent him some.
Ah, good man.
Yeah. So whether or not he's going to pre-order it on his own or go buy some booze is unknown. But we'll be giving away another one in less than 3 weeks? Yeah, about less than 3 weeks.
Yep.
So look for the clue tomorrow. It'll be on the Friday robot intermission.
Tomorrow's Thursday. Oh, wait. It is Thursday.
Well, who knows when this thing's actually going up. I got a long day tomorrow. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to get this to you. I mean, I should be able to.
Definitely, the clue will be up this Friday, so go ahead and look for that, and go ahead and submit your thing. No purchase necessary, blah, blah, blah.
Then, Faith, you have any other contests going on? You're done, right?
No, I'm done. Yeah, already.
Yeah. I don't think I almost got a second copy of Bomberman and some other shitty PSP game, but I turned it down, and I shouldn't have. I should have taken it and given it to you guys again. Damn it. What thing do you have, Orcus?
The Podtoid Wants You thing.
Oh, yeah, speak of that.
I don't know, me and Franz were tossing this around, and I don't know, a couple other guys. And the idea is that that Podtoid has the best readers, and we want your proof of that. And we want the readers' best and most hardcore gaming moments to prove that we have the best readers and therefore the best blog. And so what I'm hoping is I get enough submissions to, I don't know, maybe a weekly or bi-weekly thing, readers submitted, as opposed to just like random YouTube guys. So,
you guys get that? I think you're literally in a metal box. You're speaking from a metal box on Mars, underground, and the aliens are like about to come get you. And you've got to hurry up and talk before they hear you. And this is your last chance to get the message out before they totally ass rape you. And,
great.
You over.
Awesome.
That's what it sounds like. Well, anyway, we hope we heard that and it had something to do with our readers being awesome and sending in videos. So where should they send the videos?
There's a thread in the forums they can submit them to, or they can email me.
Okay, so go to the forums or email Orcus. Videos of something, I didn't pay attention. I'm sure you guys know more than me because I don't really go to the forums that much, which I probably should, but I'm too busy actually doing my job and mucking it up with you people.
Well, there'll be a couple of opportunities as we get closer to launching the new site. Which
yeah, site update. What's going on, Nero?
Well, we lost 2 of the Destructoid hard drives last week, unfortunately, in the middle of the update. So that's coming up as soon as humanly possible. We always make great strides on the weekend when we're not posting new things on the site every 30 minutes. So you'll probably see a couple of subtle changes and me kind of breaking up the site over the weekend. Going back to our awesome fans, I just wanted to say happy 17th birthday to Dewey. His friend Taylor sent us news that he was turning 17 today, and they were going to check the site when they got back from dinner, so threw a little something up for them.
When's Elephant coming? I keep getting questions. When's the new site coming? Soon?
It's coming, man. It's coming. I think with that the original plan was perhaps too ambitious for a 2.0 launch. I think what's actually happening is we're saying, okay, do we really need to launch with this feature, or is this something that we can kind of roll out little by little? So that's, the chat is obviously one of the things that we're trying to do, the web chat, trying to bring out some of the things that are going on in the forum up to the homepage, have cooler lists on the side that are actually usable other than the Destructoid Most Wanted. and really start growing the website, the sections of the website. So all of that is coming as soon as we can build it.
So we're still eagerly anticipating it. All right. Okay, I'm anticipating. All right, so let's get into some of these. Just a couple questions from you posted. If anybody had any questions, there weren't really that many good ones, but I guess we'll get into it. Gregor wanted. Actually, this is kind of a good question. I am talking loud. This is a good question. Gregor wants to know what our least favorite video game genre is.
Okay, I'll go first. I cannot stand tactics games. Can't play tactics.
Like turn.
Don't want to touch them. Like the Final Fantasy Tactics, like that sort of game where
Tactics
you have
Ogre, Dynasty Warriors Tactics.
Exactly. Where you have the little grid, and I mean, I hear that Final Fantasy Tactics in particular has a phenomenal story, and I'm a total idiot for not playing it.
Yep.
I just can't. I just can't sit on my sofa, and I just can't do it. I can't. So that's my least favorite.
Faith?
Let's see. It's a toss-up between all these countless millions of useless World War shooter games, because all they do is keep producing, these half-assed attempts to be Call of Duty or Medal of Honor. Like, give up, developers, okay? Like, create something else. That and crappy girly games like Barbie Princess Horse Trainer or whatever that teaches girls that it's good to wear jewelry. Ooh, let's do our hair. What the hell are they teaching little girls?
I like
That's the scariest voice ever.
I actually like it. I don't know about you guys. Orcus, Metal Box. What genre do you not like?
The Metal Box hates racing games. They bore me to tears. I don't care how good they look or how pretty the cars are. Like, I don't even really like cars. Like, fuck racing games.
I think Orcus and I are in the same wavelength of gaming wise. But I'll get in. There's genres I hate worse. I'll get into that after Savant goes.
Oh, I guess it's my turn.
Yeah.
Well, I originally would have said Hello Kitty games, but after I just saw what Nero had posted a while ago, I'm probably going to say Lolicon. Is that what it's called? I think that is by far the worst.
What the hell's Lolicon?
If you read you don't read the forum, but some guy posted about how the Japanese, with the SNK's child
the child
that
porn.
stuff thing, that's called Lolicon or something like that.
Oh,
and
God.
that's the big thing. That's what I hate now. I couldn't stand hearing about that.
But I mean, what genres do you typically stay away from, like the games that you actually play?
Oh, I'll go back to what I said before, Hello Kitty. But
So you just stay away from Hello Kitty games?
No, if I honestly had to pick, I honestly stay away from a lot of sports games except for Madden, because I really only watch NFL. So.
Okay. All right. Well, like Orcus, I don't really like racing games that much, but those aren't the worst. I guess a tie for the worst is card games.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I don't get card games. I just don't
Like you're
get
talking
them.
like battle card systems and...
Yeah, I got it sitting right on my desk. Batten Chaos Origins. I haven't even played it yet, but that's a card game, and there's a few other Pokemon wannabe cartoons that have card games out. So games like that, but also fighting games I can't stand, as far as Tekken and DOA. I don't really like those kind of games. I love Fight Night. I love Fight Night series, but the button mashing combo, you have to memorize a combo in order to be good at it kind of games. Even Mortal Kombat to a point, I don't even like anymore. It's those kind of games that I really can't stand, at all.
You didn't like Tetramaster on the Final Fantasy?
Who?
That
No.
was...
I haven't played Final Fantasy since 10.
Tetramaster's the shit.
That was in
Tetramaster
Final
was
Fantasy 9.
that was in Final Fantasy 8. It was the only good part of the damn game. I couldn't get past.
There was a card game in 9 as well.
Yeah.
I think
I
it's
think
played...
the 10 was the last one I played, that double disc PlayStation game. I don't even remember. I'm not a big Final Fantasy person. Alright, so Katie Alpha, moving right along, he had this thing, what do we like to get fucked up, drunk, high, whatever. I'm just going to skip that one. Because there seemed to be a lot of heat I was catching on the Diddy post. And he wanted to know what everyone's take was on my Diddy post, which was on a Sunday. Let me start out by saying... Do you guys hate it as much as the rest of the people?
I changed the name of the site for you. I mean, it was
it was awesome for
it was
that
P
night.
Diddy Toid for a couple of hours.
Oh, P Diddy Toid, I miss it. It was so good.
I love that. I love that banner. It should be like that. Like every.
I saved it. If you want it,
an
I
hour.
saved it.
I think I'm just gonna switch that on at random parts of the day. People are just gonna be
Awesome.
hell.
So were you guys? Go ahead, be honest. I won't fire you or anything. You can say you hated it. If you
I hated it. I don't know.
Okay.
Why are we hanging with Diddy? What does Diddy do for us? Diddy didn't do anything for me. I want him to put the robot head on. That'll be cool.
I don't even know why I posted it. It's just I was there and I had this video and I had these pictures and I just wanted to throw it up and I did. We're talking about, I guess, I don't know if we can talk about it here, but I mean, we're talking about expanding Destructoid to other sites like Japanator, and I also want to do like a tech gadget site. So if I had that, I would have thrown it on that because it had to do with Rhapsody and Best Buy. But because we don't have that yet, I kind of had nowhere to stick it, and I just wanted to stick it somewhere because I like P.
That's
Diddy.
my motto.
I don't like P. Diddy's music per se, but I kind of like his attitude and his I think he's funny. So yeah. So I did it. You guys hate it. I understand. That's fine.
No, I didn't find anything wrong with it. I mean, you met a cool celebrity, well, like a celebrity, and it was still tech. I mean, you know, Nero, you always said that if there was something kind of techish or geekish that we really wanted to post about, we could post about it. You know, lots of people have posted about Transformers, and that's not video games. They're talking about the movie or something.
Yeah.
So, but I will admit, yeah, a lot of people didn't really care for it, and someone close to me even said that he didn't give a crap either, and why were you posting it? It's like, ooh, wow.
Yeah,
did
people
that?
get really.
Who cares?
Commenters get really upset if you do one little thing wrong. I mean, not so much on Destructoid, but on Joystick, it was absolutely.
Well, it goes down in infamy now, and now it's a part of the legend. So.
Yeah.
So it's fun. See, it won't happen again. Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, no, I think it'll just grow as a kind of like an inside joke for the hardcore Destructoid readers, and I think we'll just have fun with it here on out.
Diddy Toid.
So one guy kind of wanted to talk about it, but why is Vlad Cole such a bitch? He wanted to know. Did you guys see Vlad Cole's semi-racist remark?
The
round eye thing. Yeah, that was really ridiculous.
Yeah. Do you think that was worth getting upset over?
Yeah, I also believe so.
Yeah.
That just, it seemed very derogatory.
What's funny is that, I mean, he can get away with that, and yet I do a post on IBM chips, and it's like, our credibility is at stake, and the world is over.
You know, if I lived anywhere near an Asian community, and there's not a whole lot of Asians in Miami, it's just, you know, Hispanic people and like 3 American people, I would actually go around with a camera and just, you know, just approach people on the street and say, hey, I have round eyes, you know, just to see what kind of reaction they have, you know.
They'd be fucking pissed, man.
Yeah.
I mean, and then you pointed out like the ridiculousness of their update. Oh, here's the update. We're shutting down comments because everybody realizes I'm an asshole for saying a racist comment. So,
Well, yeah,
there's your update. Thank you.
They said that on the update they just said, since the conversation has gone off topic, we're going to close the comments. And I was like, wow, he's not even going to say, hey, you know, I'm sorry that some people took it the wrong way. I didn't mean to.
Yeah.
He's an asshole. He's a straight up asshole. And I hope he hears this because he knows he's an asshole.
That's just irresponsible journalism. I mean, we have one of our guys accidentally, you know, post something they shouldn't, and, you know, someone jumps on it, gets it deleted so that, you know, we don't get in trouble. But they put it right in their post. I mean, Christ, what are they, Kotaku?
It's like, but it's not, if they were Kotaku, like, people wouldn't have a problem with it. It's the fact that they're Joystick and they think of themselves as this high holy place.
No, I mean, remember when Kotaku had momentary Fleshbot content? I mean, they hammed it up. They were like, you know, Florian was like, yeah, you know, that's, of course we should laugh at that. That was hysterical.
Yeah.
And that's really how, you know, the attitude that you should have is, you know, whatever. Shit happens sometimes, whatever.
Yeah, so that was just...
Yeah, I think that they played that one right. No, Kotaku did.
Yeah, Joystick didn't.
So there.
Unfortunately. Anybody got anything they want to get off their chest before I call it a wrap?
Next week on Destructoid, Gary Coleman is interviewed by Robert Suma.
Yes.
I have to.
Savant wants Coleman Toid next week. Work on that. I think he lives in L.A. unfortunately, but
Oh, all right.
maybe I can make my way down. Who knows? All right, so last week when we ended Destructoid, we did what Nero wanted, and we ended in bomb sounds. So this time we're gonna end in cat sounds. So.
By the way, I had my volume turned up. It scared the crap out of me.
Yeah, so if you got your volume, that's what I'm saying. If you got your volume up, in case my voice comes out low again for whatever reason, then you might want to turn it down as I end this countdown. So at 3, 2, 1, everybody's got to make cat sounds.
Wait. We have to all count it. We all have to count it down together as a family.
Ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1.